Because we do have the federal opposition leader speaking, Anthony Albanese, taking the opportunity amidst COP and this climate conference to be at a wind farm, and also there's a lot to talk about with the French-Australian relations. Let's have a listen in.
To drive investment, as was the Australian Renewable Energy Agency, as were renewable energy targets. The former Labor government put those in place, and the current government has relied upon them for any reduction in emissions which has been achieved up to now. The fact that they have no policy going forward will be exposed by when the Prime Minister is at Glasgow. You can't have an Australian Prime Minister just saying it's the vibe when the rest of the world wants to see concrete steps towards net zero by 2050. And overnight as well, we've seen real problems with the relationship between France and the United States and Australia. You've seen President Macron make some very serious statements about his view of what Scott Morrison said to him prior to Scott Morrison cancelling the contract between Australia and France by text message. Australians need a leader who can be trusted, and the world needs to be able to trust the Australian Prime Minister. But President Macron has made a very clear and unequivocal statement about what was said to him in meetings just prior to the tearing up of that contract between Australia and France. And President Biden has also made some very strong comments about what he was informed and led to believe was discussions between Australia and France prior to those announcements being made. Diplomacy is important. It's important that Australians have a leader on the world stage who is trusted on that stage, whose word can be counted. But what we see is that being drawn into question very directly by the President of France and also the President of the United States.
Thanks, Anthony. Today is the first day that it's been legal for Albo and Tim and I as Sydney-siders to travel to regional New South Wales. So it's appropriate on this first day of regional travel that we come to this region, which is a renewable energy zone, which, as Anthony said, is an opportunity to create hundreds of jobs. This is a renewable energy zone that Barnaby Joyce, as the acting Prime Minister and local member, opposes. We asked him last week in Parliament why he opposes jobs in regional Australia. He had, as usual, no coherent answer. Fact of the matter is, we know in the Labor Party that the world's climate emergency is regional Australia's jobs opportunity, and here as much as any other region. Every day that the National Party and their mates in the Liberal Party oppose renewable energy jobs is a day of betrayal of regional Australia. Regional Australia, which has powered Australia for so long and will power us for many decades to come in a renewable economy and export that renewable energy in so many cases. Now, as Anthony said, we've seen an extraordinary development overnight. President Macron has expressed the same view that the Australian people have known for a long time. Scott Morrison said last week the next election will be about who do you trust? Well, President Macron made it clear, not you, mate. And the Australian people will have an opportunity to say, not you, mate, to Scott Morrison. This is an extraordinary development. I can't recall any instance ever where a world leader has expressed such disappointment in an Australian leader on a matter of fundamental integrity. If world leaders can't trust Scott Morrison, neither can the Australian people. The Australian people deserve to know that when their leader speaks, he speaks the truth. With Scott Morrison, we know the opposite is the case. When Scott Morrison's lips are moving, he's not telling the truth. Emmanuel Macron knows it, the Australian people know it.